Hey, 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 and welcome to the political show right here on Active FM, where radio has never been better. Hey, hey, and welcome to the political show right here on Active FM, where radio has never been better. I'm your girl Cynthia, but you know you can call me Gix, and with me in studio we have
Gavin
Pastor Gavin Enslin and me. As you can see, the space is empty, but he will be back. He will definitely be back right here on the political show where Christ Politics is.
Hot Politics.
Hot Politics. And this week's Hot Politics, we are discussing something that happened just about, well, I can't say nobody knew about it. But on November 13th, 2025, a chartered flight operated by Global Airways landed at OR Tambo International Airport here in Johannesburg, carrying 153 Palestinians from the passengers, including families with children and at least one woman 9 months pregnant, were fleeing the ongoing war in Gaza. Um, Pastor, do you want to give more brief explanation?
Yeah, well, basically the complaints were initiated by um, this foundation, who claim people were having asthma attacks and fainting from, not having enough water and all sorts of stuff, and that there were heat problems and all sorts of things while they were sitting on the plane. And they then made a stink about it because these guys needed to be released from humanitarian grounds.
Mhm.
And so they also said that the terrorist Israeli government, um, you know, um, put them in a position where they didn't do an exit stamp on their passports when they left in Israel, and that is what caused the problem, and all of that sort of stuff, and that therefore the government had to let them off the plane. And so the government let them off the plane because they're feeling sorry for these people and all of that sort of stuff, and totally flouted the regulations, regarding the entry of foreign nationals into South Africa. They were also called refugees, but they came in on a visitor's visa. So we were allowed to.
Yeah.
So we'll be discussing that.
It's going to be an interesting show, as always, right here on the political show where Christ Politics, Hot Politics.
This is the political show.
So, like I mentioned, on the 13th of November, there was a chartered flight carrying 153 Palestinians that arrived in South Africa. Now, why it's a problem and the key issues and controversies is that one of them is NGOs and activists condemned the BMA for the 12-hour detention in dire, inverted commas, in dire conditions, arguing it violated basic rights for war refugees. And then the passengers felt deceived by Majid Europe, which the Palestinian embassy called an unregistered and misleading organization that exploited desperate families by charging fees without proper arrangements, and some described the journey as a journey of suffering. The South African authorities were blindsided. There were no advance notice, no manifests, and irregular paperwork raised smuggling or trafficking fears. President Cyril Ramaphosa called it mysterious and suggested the passengers were flushed out of Gaza, implying forced displacement. Intelligence services launched an investigation into flight organizers and the route. And then the lack of Israeli exit stamps, normally required for Gaza departures, fueled suspicion of illicit facilitation. And then the broader immigration debates have intensified. While South Africa supports Palestinian rights, locals worry about unvetted arrivals, strained resources, echoing tensions over other refugee influxes. What are your thoughts on those?
All right. So first of all, they're claiming that that they're refugees, all right? But then they allow them in on a 90-day visitor's visa. So they haven't been truthful there.
Yeah.
That's the first thing. The second thing is, why does the gift of the givers have so much power in South Africa? You know, I was watching this week the portfolio committee, for COCTA, relating to the CRL Commission. The CRL Commission was giving a report. You know, we've spoken about the CRL Commission before, that are talking about regulating the church. Although they claim not to want to regulate the church, but when you look at all of their documentation, regulate the church is exactly what they want to do. So they're actually lying there. But when I was listening to that, all right, the question that I have is, you know, why is there so much focus on the things that the church is doing wrong? But yeah, the gift of the givers, which is a Muslim NGO, why do they have so much say, you know, over what is going on in South Africa? And why do South African politicians kowtow to them to such an extent?
Yeah.
And this is something that needs to be looked at. There was a TikTok that came out from the podcaster Penyo, and normally, you know, in terms of his podcasts and things like that, the reality is that you know, him and I actually really disagree on everything, you know, on a lot of what he says. And for the first time, talking about this situation now, where the gift of the givers pressurizes the government, and in this instance, it was the Minister of Home Affairs, which is a DA, Minister of Home Affairs, the Democratic Alliance. So it's no longer just the ANC, it's now the ANC and the DA now capitulates to the gift of the givers and allows his people in. And the other thing that he's asking, if you look at where the Palestinians are on the map and you look at where South Africa is, how many nations are there between South Africa and the Palestinians?
Exactly, yeah.
So why must we take refugees from Palestine?
Yeah.
I mean, what nonsense is this? We've got our own problems. You know, what about all the people in South Africa living in shacks? So why are we taking refugees from there? Why aren't they being housed in Jordan or Egypt?
Yeah.
Or places like that?
Yeah.
You know, why must they come here? So he's asking that, and then he says something. For the first time, he actually spoke sense in my view. He says, what this has indicated is that the citizens of South Africa have no say over what's going on here.
Yeah.
And so the situation at the end of the day is that these guys now, you know, that this country is being operated like a corporate with shareholders.
Yeah.
And the shareholders are the rich. And enough that's been our standpoint ever since. I mean, we've spoken about the law, you know, and the law in South Africa discriminates against the poor. Even with the CRL Commission, they're going to discriminate with that regulation, and pastors having to be registered. That's going to discriminate against poor churches, and so we can go on and on and on and on. And now Penyo has come out making a statement saying that, and I was thinking, Eureka, hallelujah, you know, thank the Lord.
Yeah.
He's actually realized this. So I'm just not sure if by starting to do stuff like this, the gift of the givers is not starting to overplay the Muslim hand in South Africa, because they obviously have a lot of clout with rich people, but they don't have clout with the masses. And I think the masses are getting decidedly unhappy about this, and that's why this came out, because they try to squash us.
Yeah.
This came out because of workers on the ground.
Yeah.
And people that were involved in the whole affair that are upset.
Yeah, that's true. I want to get your thought in terms of the whole Israeli involvement. So, people, activists, including the gift of the givers, are saying that
but hold on
accusing of it being an Israeli front.
The gift of the givers made a whole hoo-ha about this.
Yeah.
It's a gift of the givers that went to the press.
Yeah.
And the gift of the givers on Islamist organization.
Yeah.
Their goal, I don't care what they say. People say they're so fantastic. They are horrific.
Yeah.
I want to tell you right now, the gift of the givers are horrific. Their aim is to make South Africa an Islamic state.
Yeah, that's true.
That is their goal. That is why they exist. The only reason the gift of the givers exists is for that. Please don't let anyone fool you. If you listen to the speeches of their founder, it is clear he's an Islamist.
Yeah.
He wants South Africa to come under subjugation to Sharia law.
Yeah.
So I don't agree with the activists. The activist,
So,
gift of the givers.
so I just wanted to let me explain what they're saying. So they're saying that they accuse how do you pronounce that? Al-Majid of being, well, the organization that the people who facilitated this with these Palestinians and stuff, of being an Israeli front to depopulate Gaza quietly. They claim it was part of a broader ethnic cleansing agenda, with Palestinians thrown anywhere outside the promised land. However, Israel obviously denied this, stating that GOGAT, it's the Gaza coordination body, approved exits only after a third country confirmed reception. Officials insisted South Africa had prior arrangements for such arrivals, and that over 40,000 Gazans have been facilitated to leave since October 2023. So, but there isn't any evidence
but these
for
poor
the claim.
Gazans, how do they get on the plane?
Yeah, so that's the question that everyone has been asking.
Where are you seeing that poor people can go to the airport and get on a plane to fly overseas? I mean, what does it cost for an air ticket? Now, if people are watching here, maybe they live in Sandton in South Africa, or maybe they live in some Western country somewhere. You know, you think, just catch a flight. Let me tell you, the poor in South Africa don't catch flights.
Yeah.
The only time they fly is if someone punches them.
Yeah.
Then they might fly a meter or two if the guy's really strong that hits him. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That what flights do people have? Okay, or they might fly if they jump off a bridge, and they fly until they hit the ground. Poor people can't fly.
Yeah.
So now you're talking about these poor oppressed refugees. How did they get on the plane? And what are they doing here? Okay, and then you look at this in relation to the fact. Look at all the small shops, which in South Africa are known as spaza shops. Pakistanis, Bangladeshis, Somalis. Somalia is a wreck. Somalia is a disaster zone. The people that are there have absolutely and utterly no money.
Yeah.
All right. So how do they come here and spend 100,000 rand to buy up a spaza shop? Because that's what's happened.
Yeah.
And then to initially stock it. So the thing is, at the end of the day, you know, looking at all of these things, there's a huge amount of questions coming on here, because there's a funding of the takeover of South Africa.
Yeah.
And it's an Islamic takeover. That is actually what's being engineered here.
Yeah.
And maybe someone like Peniel is starting to realize for the first time that white people are not his enemy. He's got a far greater enemy than the white people.
Yeah.
Because I don't think he wants to be Muslim.
Yeah. I mean, I remember when I first saw the article that 153 Palestinians have been led through or Tambo, and I was just like, guys, I didn't even think of like the visas and whatever. I'm like, for the fact that there are 153 Palestinians, Muslims, that have been let into the country, that is an agenda. That is that was my first thought. It was like, this is an agenda. 153 doesn't seem. Yeah, it doesn't seem like a lot of people, but if you think about the agenda that they have, and you think about if you had to, blend in 153 Muslims into the nation and stuff, like, there's a lot that can happen in terms of the agenda and stuff. So yeah, so that was my thought when I first saw that article. And there's the whole thing with the visas and the legal thing and whatever, but we have to look at it from the broader aspect of, these are Muslims, they have an agenda, and that's where we need to look at it from as Christians.
Yeah, and the reality at the end of the day, I want South Africans to realize, your leaders, if they're worldly, will sell you out. And they'll sell you out for short-term gain for themselves and for their own families. And that's just the reality, and I believe that's what's happening here. I believe there's guys here that behind the scenes have pocketed a whole lot of money. And the thing is, yeah, please don't tell me that voting in another worldly political party other than the ANC is going to solve the problems. Because there's a DA in charge, and they're doing exactly what the ANC did when the ANC had full control of Parliament.
Yeah, yeah. And in Isaiah 5 verse 20, it says, "Woe to those who call evil good and good evil, who put darkness for light and light for darkness."
So now this is what is happening. I mentioned briefly the CRL Commission, gave a presentation to the Cocktail Portfolio Committee in Parliament, and they're talking about how massively important it is that they need to sort out pastors who get people to eat grass, that spray them with doom, insecticide, and drink petrol, fuel and stuff like that. But the thing is, at the end of the day, that is not the big issue for South Africans. You don't go in the everyday streets and listen to people saying, yes, we want the government to regulate the church. But they do want to regulate, they do want the government to regulate who's coming in the country. And they don't want the government just to let refugees in the country from here, there, and everywhere. And so now at the end of the day, there is what seems to be on the face of it a massive agenda to change the composition of the population of South Africa through immigration that goes against what South Africans themselves have voted for. And so at the end of the day, the thing is, when you vote people into power who are worldly, they will call evil good, and they will call good evil, and they will legislate accordingly. And so I really want to encourage you, number one, make sure the king of your life is Jesus. Number two, if you have the opportunity to vote, then please vote for someone that lives by the values of the Bible.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Amen. This has been an amazing show. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. I'm your girl Cynthia, but you can call me Gix. And with me in studio we've had
Gavin Enslin.
Pastor Gavin Enslin right here on The Political Show, where Christ politics is
Hot politics.
hot politics.